I'm going to work with Democrats. I think that the future of America, the policy is going to be decided by decisions inside the Democratic Party. So take healthcare, for instance. In 20 years, is America going to be the only country that doesn't have national health insurance? No, we're not going to be that. So what that's going to be, it's not going to be decided in the Republican Party. It'll be decided in the Democratic Party.
Okay, longtime Republican strategist. His strategy is to surrender, apparently. Stuart Stevens, he's abandoned his party, his values in favor of the socialists. In this interview, he went on to say the GOP has made itself irrelevant by following the leadership of President Trump. As a matter of fact, well, I just disagree. President Trump is the only thing that has made the GOP relevant. He's succeeded. But there is now a quiet push by the establishment Republicans, as we've been detailing, to purge the party of Donald Trump. It's a move that could have major ramifications for the country and the future of the grand old party. Here now is Wayne Allen Root, nationally syndicated radio show host on USA Radio. He is the author of the new bestseller, Trump Rules. Wayne, always great to see you. And this is either the Trump purge. It's either going to do one of two things. It's going to split the GOP, giving the socialist win after win after win forever, or President Trump's going to actually string together a coalition of disaffected liberals, pro-American traditional liberals, disaffected Democrats, and the Trump Republican/conservatives. Which way do you think it's going to go?
Well, first of all, hi, Chris. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate Newsmax. So let's start with that. Appreciate your show and telling the truth. And I appreciate your statement a second ago, because I couldn't agree more. It is surrender. And I'm not willing to surrender. Don't think of me as a conservative national radio talk show host. Think of me as a businessman and a capitalist who just by mistake, I'm kind of the accidental talk show host. I'm a businessman who happens to have a talk show, but I run multiple businesses, including a publicly traded company, and I understand business. And I'm telling you, you couldn't make money for 8 years under Obama. It was a disaster. And now we've got, another 4 years or longer under Obama 3. This is Obama term 3, part 3 under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Nightmare. And so, to say that Republicans should surrender, that comment that we're not going to be the only country in the world without government-issued health care. Well, my friends live in England. My friends live in France. Great friend lives in Paris, France. They all tell me how bad the healthcare system is. If you get sick in America, I see a doctor, not tomorrow, this hour. If I go to a clinic down the street, I can see a doctor this hour. In France, government run, it's free. You can see a doctor 3 months from now. You can see a specialist a year from now. I don't want government run healthcare. I'm not interested in it. And as far as Trump being irrelevant and making the GOP relevant, Chris, that's the biggest crock of you-know-what I've ever heard in my life, because he got 11 million more votes than last time when he won the election. I spent 4 years telling people that my ear is to the ground as a talk show host and as a businessman, and all my friends love Trump. And the more they said, Trump's dead, Trump's dead, Trump's dead, he'll never win again, the GOP's dead, I said, you're wrong. Everyone who ever voted for Trump is going to vote for him again in 2020, plus millions more. And I was proven right. Yes, he lost. I get it. But I was still proven right. He got the same votes as last time, plus 11 million more. And those people weren't voting for Stuart, what's his name, that you're quoting, and they weren't voting for, what's his name, Toomey of Pennsylvania that hates Trump. These are all guys so boring, their fan club could fit into a phone booth. The Republican Party will never move forward with boring Bush rhinos. You got to have a candidate who's like Trump, a real conservative, a real capitalist, and a great personality and a real entertainer, and maybe minus a few of the rougher edges.
No, I get that. I mean, I understand exactly what you said, and I agree wholeheartedly with it. And as a matter of fact, don't forget, when Mitt Romney did his abandonment of conservatism and passed Romney Care in Massachusetts, you and I both know what happened to wait times to see a doctor. They went up. Socialism sucks wherever it's tried. But let's break this down. Let's game this out, how this might work. So I fully expect President Trump is going to be a player in American politics and the Trump company and the Trump kids for a long time to come. So let's just say that the Republicans are successful in purging Donald Trump and purging all of his supporters out of the Republican Party. Mitt Romney doesn't like the way we look or smell, and neither does apparently Liz Cheney or Adam Kissinger. They just don't like we the rabble. Okay, fine. What does that leave behind? Give me your feeling on how much of the Republican Party will be leaving the Republican Party once the Trump section is purged?
Well, look, the comments by Mitch McConnell, I talked about this on radio. I take calls. I'm telling you, Mitch McConnell killed the Republican Party, like stabbing a vampire in the heart. The Republican Party doesn't have a future if you're going to kill the political career of Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought 11 million new voters, as I said. But who were those 11
That's
million?
a record.
They were working class. A record all time for not just a Republican, but any incumbent president in the history of the United States. And he brought in working class and middle class people and small business owners. We can't survive as a party of the GOP. And I say we, because I'm a lifelong Republican, except for a 2-year period where I was so angry with George W. Bush that I left the GOP, ran for president myself, and won the Libertarian vice presidential nomination. So I've been a Republican since I was 3 years old, 56 years mostly of my life. That's a long time. And we are not going to be a successful party if you purge Donald Trump. Too many people love him. They'll continue to love him. I continue to love him, support him, appreciate what he did. I only cared about 2 things: make the economy better. 3 things: make the economy better, create jobs, and close that border so we stay American. You don't let in millions of foreigners.
Well, yeah, and national security. Wayne, let me focus just on the folks for a second. The Republican Party, as a group of people, the 75 million folks who voted for President Trump. You've got members of the Republican Party now who want to purge the Republican Party of Trump and Trump supporters. I'm asking you, what does that look like? Give me a percentage of how many folks will be saying, fine, goodbye, GOP, taking my money, taking my votes with me. How much of the Republican Party do you think is Trump?
Well, this is the problem, Chris. Okay, the media gravitates to famous people. The media gravitates to U.S. senators, U.S. Congress people, the House Minority Leader. The media gravitates to famous CEOs. All of them are the D.C. swamp. None of them were ever Donald Trump. And the minute they realized his power was over, they stabbed him in the back like Judas. The second they realized he couldn't protect them and their future did not involve Trump, they stabbed him and they threw him under the bus. And so, but if you speak to the people, Chris, the 74 plus to 75 million that voted for Trump, if you speak to them, they all still love and appreciate Trump and they want to move forward with Trump, but they don't want to move forward in the GOP anymore with Trump. I must have gotten 10,000 plus emails in the last 2 weeks from my fans begging me to start a Patriot Party and get away from the Republican Party. And maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be you, maybe it'll be Donald Trump. But I don't think the people that voted for Trump are going to stay in the GOP. We feel run over and thrown under the bus, and we still believe in Trump and Trump's values and principles, maybe not always his tweets. I'm so sick of hearing about his tweets. That's not why we voted for him.
Me
we
too.
voted for him because he made the economy roll and he closed the border to a lot of bad people that are coming here that would sink this country and bankrupt this country and steal our jobs and add to the national debt and commit crimes in our country. And that's what he did for us. It was a great 4 years. I'll always appreciate him.
Yeah, and it was so much bigger than that. Peace is breaking out in the Middle East, and the Republicans that came before didn't really have an answer for any of that. They seem to be siding with the warmongers in the Democrat Socialist Party. Right. But look, his accomplishments.
Chris, I think the biggest one, I'm a big anti-tax guy, right? I want lower taxes because I could do better with my money than the government can. But far more important than taxes, regulations. And Donald Trump was the greatest regulation killer in the history of business. And more than anything else, that's the reason the economy was the best in 50, maybe even in 100 years, was because he dramatically cut regulations. And Biden's going to come in and put them all back in again and dramatically raise taxes. And it's going to be just like the dead Obama years. It's going to be awful for businessmen and women like me. Okay. And we're not looking forward to it, and we're not happy about it. And there's no unity here. I'm not going to stand by and be best friends with people that are looking to put me out of business and ban my free speech. Yeah. So there's no friendship here. Never violence, but there's no friendship and unity.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, look, I know you probably put this out to your talk show audience, and I actually talked about it with mine today as well. What name came up as, if there is going to be a third party from what I believe will be a majority of disaffected Republicans and 10 to 15% of the Democrat Socialist Party who don't want to be socialists? What's the name that came up most often for a new party? What would it be called?
Well, I kind of like the Root Party, but but the name that all my fans came up with, almost every fan said the Patriot Party, and that pretty much describes us. And I think it's a good name, but there's probably 100 names out there. Give me one night to think about it. I'll give you 20 choices, but the Patriot Party sticks pretty good because I know what I am. I love this country. I'm not for violence ever. Yep. I don't want a civil war. I hope we never have one, but I do want lower taxes. I do want less regulations. I do want a pro-business administration, and we're not getting that with Biden and Harris. We're getting a socialist administration that's going to strangle the American economy again. Part 3 of Obama's strangulation and smothering of the American economy. And you know what that benefits? It benefits China. Isn't it interesting?
China,
that's who's going to be
exactly.
The benefit. China, yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Wayne, look, always great talking with you, man. Tell the radio show that we said hi, and let's get you back on soon. We'll talk again. Thank you very much.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.